Welcome to the SAP Entertainment Show, where I interview singers, rappers, entrepreneurs of all walks of life. And today's special guest, we have a talented poet by the name of Nerd. How you doing today?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed. As you can see, I'm out here in the streets, literally.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Let the world hear your story.
My story. So I'm originally from Los Angeles, California, born and raised. I've lived in several cities, starting off in Venice, and I've been between Compton, Culver City, Westchester, Hawthorne, Long Beach, um, and I've been doing poetry since high school. I went to Westchester High, class of '05, and when I was coming up, Def Poetry Jam was very big. Um, Spoken word neo soul scene was very big. So when I went to college, I carried that into being on the poetry slam team, and I did that for 2 years at California State University, Long Beach. Where I graduated with my degree in English creative writing. Now, I went to college as a backup plan because I wanted to be a rapper, much like a lot of people in the inner city. But what I found was I was able to freely express myself through my poetry. So I always knew that I wanted to write something memorable. And in 2015, I produced my first poetry book called The Love Song of D Nerd McDonald, which is available on Amazon and my publisher Lulu.com. It was that book that inspired me to do a book tour, and one of the places that I ended up in was the East Coast. I got to see the East Coast poetry scene and how it was thriving. And I went back home and I was like, you know what, I need to change. This area is big on music, entertainment, or whatever, but I wanted to thrive in my uh, poetry and spoken word. So I moved out here to the DC metro area in 2019, and I've been out here ever since. I ended up creating my own production company, Nerd the Poet Productions. I host a open mic every second and third Sunday called Refresh Open Mic. I also have a poetry residency at one of the lounges out here, and that's where we land here in 2022.
That's what's up. So, do you come from a literary background?
I'm first generation, first generation college student, first generation poet, author.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so uh, the written word always intrigued me, and I always knew that I wanted to do something with writing, whether it was writing, movie scripts or getting into journalism. I wrote for the school newspaper in high school and a little bit in college. So I use writing as a creative outlet, basically by it being something that had intrigued me growing up.
For sure. So, what writers did you enjoy reading as a child?
Um, it's gonna be a little interesting because my introduction into writing, creative writing, was through hip hop. So I was a kid who always read like Source magazines, Double XL magazines, and the journalists in there were so descriptive in how they were writing their interviews, and this was synonymous with me having to write different papers and stuff in English. So I pulled from a lot of different people, but my favorite period is the Harlem Renaissance. So Langston Hughes, is one of my favorite writers. James Weldon Johnson, County Cullen, um, and Tupac. I would say Tupac is like the last poet that I will attribute as me being influenced by.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So, is that one of your influencers, Tupac?
Tupac definitely is one of my influencers because I
Can you
call
name
myself
me three more?
Um, Tupac, Eminem, and Biggie Smalls. I would
That's
say as far as like their writing, because as a rapper, you know, rap is rhythm and poetry. So I always listen to how they put their words together, not necessarily how the song was constructed with the beat, but I like caught on to like their rhyme schemes and what they were talking about. So those were probably like the three main ones that I kind of emulated and formed my own style from.
that's what's up. Okay, so I'm a little intrigued to see hear something from you. Do you mind giving us a little 15 seconds of what you can do?
15 seconds. I don't know if I have a poem that's that short, but
I mean, I just say 15 seconds.
okay. I
Do
was like,
you?
because I'm thinking like, do I have literally 50 seconds? So um, let me see. I'll do this piece, and it's called "The Wave." When it comes to fish in the sea, you are the wave. I'm chasing you, but running from you at the same time. It's cool when you at my feet, but I'm too scared to go where waters get too deep. I know it seems that men all read from the same script, but can you blame us? Try to be Max, but our minds we can't make up. Try to be Max, but can't analyze this data. So I'm staring out windows, looking at blank faces. I'll just sit on shore, unsure, until a big enough wave washes me away. That's that piece.
That's what's up. Yes. So let's talk about this show you have. You say once a week.
Yes. So once a week, I do a poetry show. Uh, it was called Wind Down Wednesdays Poetry Night. It's at Wasted Lounge, 816 H Street on the corner of H and 8. And what it is open mic poetry and karaoke night. So we have people come in, they can do poetry, comedy, sing, rap, and then after the show, it's karaoke night. And that's pretty interesting because it's all inclusive. So even if you're not a performer, right, you know, we have something available for you to express some type of talent. Or by that time, at the end of the night, you've been drinking so much that you can just get on stage and do whatever it is that you want to do.
Mhm.
So that is weekly on Wednesdays. My open mic, refresh open mic, that is something that is very unique to me because at first I didn't want to host my own open mic out here. I didn't have a budget. I didn't have a location, but I used to go to this hookah lounge in Uptown, and I got real cool with the owner. They started following me on Instagram, and they were seeing me, performing between here and LA. And I was like, well, why don't you do one of your events here on a slow night? And I was like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. And I literally like started off with just myself, a mic stand, and like a iPad that was had a playlist.
Mhm.
Like I would turn the songs off and off, bring people up, and then I started going out there and networking in the area, sharing my vision. And I acquired a DJ, and then I, you know, started getting funds, acquired a brand, and that turned into what it is that I have now with me starting this open mic under my own business.
That's what's up. So describe your creative process.
So basically, my creative process is very sporadic. I usually create after being inspired by something, an event, um, someone else sharing, movies. And then I'll sit back and I'm like, okay, what's the alternate route I can, or alternate perspective I can go with this piece? And then I'll just, write something. And usually I get something down and then I have a blank. I have to come back to it. Or sometimes I can just get it all done. right then and there. So it's very, it just depends, you know. It depends on how I'm feeling, but I'm someone who can pretty much pull inspiration from anywhere.
That's what's up. What obstacle did you have to overcome to get this far in your life?
Um, there are many obstacles, shall I say? Many obstacles. Of course, this isn't something that is like you apply to it like a job and everything is taken
Mm,
care of. You know what I'm saying? This is an entrepreneurial effort. You definitely have to put in the work. You definitely have to grind. You definitely have to hustle just to see a little bit of the fruits of your labor, right? So I think dedication, you know, and being dedicated and having this as a why, you know, because it will test you. You know, you'll wake up and be like, do I really want to do this? You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of proving yourself. You know, a lot of people come in to the craft for things beyond sharing their art, you know, mainly for making a name for themselves or feeling that they have to be competitive, have to be the best at doing this and that. And, you know, you're gonna have to prove yourself to the community um, if that is what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like this is just gonna be something that you can kind of enter and exit, right? Because it is something that people want to know that you're genuine about,
for
right?
sure.
Before they really, you know, pay attention and before you're on their radar. Um, Having the confidence, of course, to be able to go up there on stage, share stuff, um, you know, memorize, perform. Sometimes you mess up, you know, sometimes you forget a piece and you know, you're gonna have to talk yourself up to go back up there and do it again better next time. Um, you got, you know, family and friends and people who really don't take what it is that you do seriously. You get what I'm saying? Because this is something that is a unique passion of yours that they might not see benefiting.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? They might not see, I guess, the point in it. But like I said, this is a part of your why, and you're in a sense introducing this concept, or you're bringing them into this world that they may not understand. You know what I'm saying? So there's a kind of conversation that you have to have with yourself and them, and an understanding about that. You know, because oftentimes we expect people that we know to just blindly follow us and support us on whatever it is that we do.
Hmm.
You know, which I understand why, because at a certain point, it's like they were just doing that for, you know, whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? But when you're talking about like livelihood, like things that you are doing in your adulthood, some of us feel like those things need to be serious and they need to look a certain way. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, to the artists out there, because I'm gonna tell you like this: my family members haven't gone to about I would say 80% of the things that I've done.
So they're not your biggest support.
No, no, family and friends are not my biggest supporters. Strangers, other artists, um, people of other races who are curious about the perspectives that I have to share. Those have been my biggest supporters, and that's something that you're gonna have to be okay with.
So, besides poetry, what are some of your other gifts?
Um, Management, I would say, logistics. Um, yeah, I'm kind of like I call myself an entrepreneurial artist, right? So like,
It's okay.
no, and that's important too because it's like it's not just the raw talent. Like raw talent will get you seen, but the business part will get you remembered, right? Because you have the follow ups, you have the packaging, you got, you know, the legal stuff, so people aren't manipulating your name on the back end. And I would say that's something that I am talented in as well because I pay attention, I learn, I study the game. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
And on the management side, it's like there are opportunities that may not be the best for me that might be good for someone else. And I'll be like, hey, you should go, you go check this out. Like they
Mhm.
paying, $500 over here, so and so over there, because I can't be everywhere at once, and I don't want to.
Sure.
There's space for myself that I have to reserve just for my mental and my well being. So I would say I'm good at like looking at all these opportunities, and then on the back end, I'll get something back and they'll be like, hey, nerd looked out for me. You know, here's a token of my appreciation. You know what I'm saying? Or I might see someone in another city and they'll be like, hey, remember when you brought me to your open mic and then this led to so on and so forth. So it's that business aspect too that I would say I'm talented in because I invest in that craft. You know, but yeah, I can't sing, maybe act. I do a little bit of comedy though. So I would say those are my other talents.
That's what's up. So before we end this segment, um, is there any advice you would love to give a young poet that want to follow your footsteps?
Advice that I would give to a young poet. Something that's not cliche either. Um, the advice that I would give is that you matter, right? And when I say you matter, the fact that you have the boldness and audacity to share your story or share anything personal about you with anyone else, whether it's just expressing yourself or you want to have someone to relate to or you want someone to not make the same mistakes that you did, is bold as hell because you don't have to talk to anybody. You don't have to do none of that shit, right? I don't know if I cuss. You don't have to do none of that stuff,
You can do whatever you want.
and and that matters, right?
Yes.
You don't have to rewrap it. You don't have to repackage it. You know what I'm saying? It can be raw. All right. You may have to find the particular audience for it, but the audience is out there.
For sure.
That's the first thing I want to say. Now the cliche stuff. Always believe in yourself. You know what I'm saying? If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, have a team and make sure that your team supports you. And you have to accept the fact that the people that are going to carry you aren't going to look like the people that you think. You know what I'm saying? They may not even be the people that you start with. You know what I'm saying? Because your talent as you go on your craft is going to put you in places that other people can't go. You know what I'm saying? And you give them an opportunity. You give them a window opportunity to get together to go with you. But after that, you got to keep it pushing, and then take people who's on the next level. If that's the case, you know
Yes.
what I'm saying. So that's the main advice that I would give. Find ways to pay yourself, okay? Because poetry, any industry is going to tell you what they're going to pay you. You have to tell yourself what you were going to pay yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, poetry is getting into different aspects. There's teaching artists, right? So you could teach people how to do poetry. Um, you could write poetry for advertisements. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? You could do high level events, weddings. You know what I'm saying? Inaugurations, opening ceremonies. It's not just the open mic. All right, and bring people to you. You know what I'm saying? Host your own open mic, host your own event.
Sure. Hmm.
You know that might take a little bit of practice. You may have to know how to host and run different things. That's what the team is for. You know what I'm saying? Because they're gonna bring you the skills that you need to get to that point. So just make sure you make yourself multi-layered, and not to say, "Oh, I'm gonna come into this industry doing this one thing and get paid what I want to get paid." No, they're gonna tell you what you get paid, and it's not ever gonna be what you feel like you should get paid. It's always,
Sure.
they say you gotta pay yourself first.
That's what's up. And let the world know how we can follow you.
Right on, right on. So you can follow me. They say out here everywhere but home. um, on Instagram at Nerd the Poet. Twitter's Nerd the Poet. My YouTube is Nerd the Poet. Facebook, Dominic Nerd McDonald. What else do I have? TikTok is Nerd the Poet as well. And I think that's it. I don't know if there's a new little social media thing that comes up in the next, you know what I'm saying, year or whatever. I guess I'll be on that as well.
That's what's up. And you guys heard it first.
Hey, no, listen, you work it, and shout out to you, of course. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for putting artists out there from, what I'm saying, West Coast, East Coast, all over.
Yes.
And this is important. This is what we need, because we need to get that to as many different people and expand our audience as much as we can.
You guys heard it first. Thank y'all for tuning in to SAP Entertainment Show with me, the host, Sarah Soulstress, and Nerd the Poet. And make sure y'all like, subscribe, and also stick around, because I'm going to leave y'all with one of his pieces titled Sky Blues. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you.
By the way, my name is Nerd. You can find me on social media at Nerd Rap. What?
At Nerd what?
Nerd Raps, NERDRPS.
Okay.
And I'm a straight shooter. Watch me throw a bowl, just a black man looking for a sister with a voice like Coco. Might drink beers, but they know my name is Say Cheers, so I'll have a buzz like you. It's a jungle out there. I'm wild like life. Hard to find work, man, even the clock strikes. Higher than everybody's spirit with the lyrics. Do a lot of carrying in my division. Ever since the Crips pen had the ill prediction of having many riches and high class living. So I keep on trucking with the big rigs till I'm chilling with CEOs and the big wigs trying to get more gigs than your MP3 player. You can stream now, but you're bound to see later all the data I contain in the frame. Shout it out like a stain, it's a shame. Oh, damn dirty even. How they telling me to go home, but I ain't sleeping. No, I ain't sleeping, I'm just resting my eyes, dozing off at the wrong time to be in demise. The watch knocking off to the beat in the sky. I was born in the vernal equinox. My family calls me Pop, so they gotta have me on the cover of the Rolling Rock. Never holding a block, it's a pity, I guess, cause I really ain't got no city to rep. Grew up in Venice with the bums and the skaters. Then the Compton when they shooting at the neighbors. Then the Inglewood when they still had the Lakers. Westchester, Long Beach, man, it's just a long sheet of homes where my art is. I want to paint it black, cause it ain't where you're from, my man, it's where you're at. Don't need a boost to be mobile, you can catch me on the global, or worldwide, wherever it flows out. Rarely you come to my town, better bow thy head, cause you gotta have faith inside. Your survival ain't assured, but you still gotta take that ride on the dusty trail that'll leave you tough as nails. My sides no cheese, go rest before I kick the pedal. See, I walk around my shoes on half lace. Walk around my mind all half space. Think about how I can make those half eights. People talking, but I only listen to them halfway. I'm not half cadence, because everybody talking why they fly, and I don't even feel late.